Thanks, group. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm excited to talk again about procrastination and how to create a positive procrastination mindset. Okay, we've talked month of January all about your goals. You've got it all taken care of, right? You wrote it out. You figured out how to make a SMART goal. You figured out how to prioritize your long-term and short-term goals. You have figured out your vision board, meaning to really get clear on what it is that you're looking to create within this year. And then as we are going about creating our life, what happens is we are coming across obstacles, right? That's just normal. We come across obstacles. And some of these obstacles is, in this case, procrastination. So this month of February, we've been diving deep into procrastination. We've identified some of the triggers. We have brought down some manager, like oh my gosh, slow down. We have identified the triggers. We have broken down our procrastination triggers into smaller, more manageable tasks to overcome them, and see week to week, as you know, you are working at it, right? And you're applying it to the goal, and we start learning week to week to week, we start learning. So last week, we talked about the Pomodoro technique. And in a minute, when I'm done with this teaching, I'd love to hear how that worked out for you, right? How you have applied it and how it worked out and what obstacles you came about, so that we can actually talk about it and figure out how to overcome these obstacles, right? Okay, so today, though, we need to add this last piece to really make procrastination a thing of the past. Okay, so positive procrastination mindset is all about, first and foremost, acknowledging and accepting the fact that procrastination is actually just normal. Every single person procrastinates. And I feel like we have made this procrastination this devil. We have made it like, oh, like this, almost like this excuse as to why we are not pursuing our goals and why we are not diving deeper into the root causes of that. Laura, why don't you hop onto the Zoom call? Okay, so here we go, right? So we have this procrastination tendency that we are, hang on just one second, I'm gonna have to make sure. Okay, so this procrastination mindset that we have going on, we just made it our excuse as to why we are not able to stick with it. Okay, we just have it our excuse. We say, oh yeah, by the way, we are procrastinating because, or yeah, we are doing procrastinating, and so therefore we let ourselves come off the hook. And we don't want to come off the hook, right? We need to make sure that we acknowledge that procrastination is somewhat common, but we're not allowing procrastination to let us come off the hook from what we are actually wanting to do. If, however, we are starting to realize that we are using it as an excuse, then we need to identify why. Why are we not pursuing this goal? Why are we allowing procrastination to stand in the way? Okay, and that is the piece that most people are not taking the next step. You are setting a goal, you're realizing you're procrastinating, and then you say like, oh yeah, I'm procrastinating on this. And boom, that's the end. That's the end for you. When in fact, that's when you need to lean in. That's when you need to say, wait a minute. Why am I allowing this procrastination to get me off the hook? Why am I not continuing to go after this goal? Is it because this goal is not important enough to me? Which it could very well be, okay? Sometimes we set goals that we assume that we need to reach. but in fact, they are not important to us. We do things because we're thinking we want to do them because they're in our inner paradigm, right? There are maybe things, maybe there are pursuits that our parents would like us to do, but we actually don't want to do them. And if that's the case, then we might have a problem with taking action and overcoming that procrastination. Or there's underlying issues like the fear, right? So maybe you are afraid that you're going to fail. Maybe you are afraid that you are not good enough. Maybe you are afraid that you are not succeeding. Or maybe you're afraid that you are succeeding with whatever it is and you can't handle what's coming about. Like many people in business actually have that problem. Like they are afraid to take the action because they're afraid to succeed. Because when they succeed, they're going to have so much more of that influx of the work, and they already feel overwhelmed. Okay. Now, whatever it is, you need to really get an understanding why it is that you are procrastinating and why you are not going for that goal then. Because here's the thing, if you become curious about it, okay, and you start understanding, you're checking into your paradigm, and if you need to learn more about paradigm, make sure you are actually checking into our group, the Walk It Free mentoring community, because over there, this whole week, I will be training on a whole bunch of like resiliency and mindset and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you check in with that as well. But when we understand why we don't want to do something, then you can take the steps when you're aware of it. Okay. That's how you start developing a positive procrastination mindset. Instead of thinking my procrastination is the devil and I'm using it as a confirmation as to why you're not good enough, because pay attention. That is what you do a lot of times. If you are avoiding fear, if you are avoiding success, if you are avoiding, to show up because you don't really want to do it, it's because you are confirming something that is written in your inner paradigm. Your inner paradigm is your computer system that runs subconsciously in the back. And it is full of a script. The script are thoughts. The script are feelings. The script are different emotions that come with smells, with situations. So to make it really easy for you, let's say your parent or caregiver was very timid and maybe an introvert, right? And you are now in this business or in this situation that you need to be outgoing. You have echoing, don't do that, people are going to judge you. Don't go over here, people are going to do this or think that. Just don't be all you because you're being very loud. Like whatever the words and sentences are that come into your brain, pay attention to those, because those sentences, those scripts are ingrained in your inner paradigm. Okay, they're inside of your paradigm. And inside of your paradigm now, you are trying to stay congruent. So that means when you are trying to take it action on a goal, let's say you want to take steps in your online business, or you want to take steps in becoming more involved in your church, or you want to take steps of being more, going for this big job, whatever it is, it really doesn't matter. You pick it, okay? Or you want to make more friends or whatever. You have subconsciously echoing, don't do it. You're not good enough. You are not going to be able to, you remember you are too loud. So they are probably not going to like you because you are fulfilling this belief people are scary, right? This is an example. Now, it will probably stop you from taking the action towards what you are looking to do. And you are subconsciously being congruent with what is written in your script with what you are living out right now. Now, here's the problem with that. Let's say you are an extroverted person. Let's say you are loving people and you're loving to be around things and it's fueling you. Because guess what? You are your own person. You are your own human being with a whole complete new set of gifts and goals and beliefs and dreams and thoughts and all the things that makes up a human, right? Maybe you would be so happy doing the exact same thing that your original caregiver that put data into your paradigm was afraid of. Maybe you would be so much happier actually going for it, right? But it can get complicated because now you feel like you want to do it. And here, this is kind of like still written there. So what can we do, right? So what's our body doing? Our body is like starting to procrastinate. Something is not congruent. Something does not work smooth. It's not like, whoops, it's working smooth. Something is off. So when something is off, what does our body do? Our body stops. We're not aligned. Our body stops because something doesn't feel right. Now, how do you go about this? You can choose to stay where you are. You can choose to continue to procrastinate and to kind of be unhappy about it and kind of just numb your emotions with food, with TV, with social media, with all the things that we're trying to cope. Or you can choose personal growth and work at it. And when you look at it, to identify, do I want to do it? Do I not want to do it? Why am I procrastinating? Why am I not doing what I want to do? Where is the trigger? Where is the disconnect here? Where is something not working smooth? Okay. Understanding the why. Now, breaking the tasks down. The way how you do it is by really figuring out which part am I not wanting to do? Why? Which part and why? Why do I not want to do it? And then look at what could possibly be in my paradigm. Is that still happening? Is that belief, that thought, is that accurate? If you think, oh, I'm not good enough, is that accurate? Or can we become curious and say, where can I get the skills? And what would happen if I would get skills to be this or that or the other, or to do this or that or the other? Okay, whatever it is that you're procrastinating on. Okay, so when I talk about a positive procrastination mindset, what I want you to do is I want you to be really just curious. See, our brain is like a computer and it's like Google. And when you type in, how do I, some kind of answer comes up, right? When you put in, I can't do this and that, an answer will come up. If you put in, why can I, an answer will come up. So the same thing is with our brain. Our brains are going to give you an answer. They're going to give you an answer based on the script that it's currently in our paradigm. Now, that can be good and that can be bad. Sometimes it's good because the information that we have learned thus far are actually going to help us. Sometimes the situation, the information that we are getting is bad because the thing we want to do, everything good is on the outside of our comfort zone, right? The things that we want to do is not there. So how do we overcome this? How do we bridge this gap? Let me give you a quick story about my travel. So when I first started traveling, I was, well, actually right after my mom died, I ended up losing her. I lost the rest of my family due to other circumstances. And I felt really thrown off life. I felt really alone. I felt like, I mean, clearly I'm an adult, but I felt like a child. I felt like helpless floating around. So I started thinking, how can I grow myself up? How can I become more confident? How can I figure out that I can do it and that I can be an adult anywhere in life? Because I felt at that time I have two choices. Either I would go down into the deep end and start freaking out about the fact that I was by myself, mentally, emotionally, and all by myself dealing with the grief. Or I could bullheadedly attack my fear and figure out how to be an adult. So what I obviously chose was figuring out how to be an adult. And I did that while I was traveling. So I took my children and I booked a trip across the country to South Carolina. And it was the very first time that I ended up driving this much hours by myself with my kids. And I did that out of for the reason that I needed to see that I could do it. And from that year on, I was traveling so much to so many different destinations that I had South Carolina, and I ended up going to Colorado by myself, and I had a lot. And then Cabo, I did Cabo by my own. That was a trip by itself. Like, I was terrified of going into a different country by myself. Like, there were so many situations that I put myself in on purpose. The purpose was that I could learn how to trust myself. See, I talked to my mother every single day. I had talked to my mother every single day, not because I needed it, but I talked to my mother every single day because I wanted to please her and I wanted to be there. But what it did, it had like this, it created this bond that also almost communicated to me that I wasn't able to do things by myself, which was a lie. It's just something that our brain makes up, right? She knew it, I knew it, but somehow subconsciously, I didn't know that I was able to do it. So when I did this year of traveling by myself, I ended up proving to myself that I could do anything. I was able to pack up, plan, and be there. And that when things happened, I would overcome. I would overcome and I would overcome and I would overcome and I would do it over and over and over and over so many times that my brain just really realized, like, dang, I'm an adult. And it sounds ridiculous talking about this, but if I have dealt with this, I'm sure this is situations that you are dealing with as well. So this is where you are possibly needing to gain the confidence, right? And overcoming procrastination is, yes, clear acceptance that first of all, everyone procrastinates on everything. Two, understanding why you're procrastinating, what is really behind it, breaking these tasks down to like get them smaller size so that you can zero in even closer to where the fear is. Where are you stuck? That is so important. Where are you stuck? And then setting the realistic goals. Okay. When you are feeling stuck in one aspect, like I was stuck in the mindset that I wasn't an adult. Now I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, of course I was an adult. I'm old enough. But at that time, I didn't go for all the things that I wanted to go for because I was thinking, I can't do this by myself. But I had to prove to my brain over and over and over again that I can do it. Okay. Remember, the brain is enclosed in complete darkness. There's not like it's in the skull. The brain is not thinking and seeing things by itself. You have control over what you feed it as input data into your brain, through your eyes, as well as your ears. Okay. You feed your brain the information. So when you had a paradigm with very many fearful messages, for example, you've got to consciously decide to invest in personal development and feed it good, positive affirmations over and over and over, encouraging messages, podcasts, YouTube videos. I mean, you name it, whatever it is, regardless what your budget is. See, I work as a coach with you because I help you one by one, one-on-one ideally, step by step to apply it. Okay. But you can do so much. Every time I'm in the car, I'm listening to something. I'm filling my brain with language and words and, input by anyone that has a positive message. Okay. That's how I overwrite these old messages in the paradigm. And you can do the same thing. So as you go through this transformation, because that's really what it is, it's transforming your life from one aspect to another one. But as you're going through this transformation, what you need to be doing with yourself is being self-compassionate. Okay. You have to be understanding this is an up and down, right? Guilt and shame keeps coming. Life is messy. Emotions are messy, but here's the payoff. Wholehearted living. If any of you know Brene Brown, she is a shame researcher from Texas, and she talks all about the power of vulnerability, the power of imperfection, the wholehearted living, the fact that you need to belong just because you are. And the more you involve yourself in personal development and the more you are accepting yourself as who you are, you understand that it is messy. Life is messy, and that is okay. But not living yourself as an authentic human being, right? And just kind of like trying to look great on social media all the time and be good for, like, that's where the pain is for most people, is the shame and the guilt and the fear that is holding you hostage from living the life that you want to live. Walking it free means that you are accepting your shame, meaning that you are wholeheartedly accepting your guilty feeling and that you are able to process this and move through it. Guys, I just had it the other day. What was that? Something with my kids. I was sitting at the kitchen table and something happened. Somebody said something or something. I forgot something. I don't even remember. I mean, we have this situation happen all the time, right? Something happens, somebody forgets something, this and this. And I felt this shame wave coming over me where I'm like, oh. And immediately the tears just went in and, and I remembered in that moment of like, it's okay, Stephanie. You're a human. You are not Jesus. You are not perfect. You are a human and you made a mistake and it's okay. And then I felt that wave of shame and I felt it. And I imagined myself hugging myself and saying, it's okay. And then I cried a couple of tears and I let this emotion go through my body and it came out and I felt good. See, the problem here is what most people do is they don't acknowledge the fact that they have emotions. B, they are stuffing them somewhere else because they're inconvenient or scary to feel. And what they're not realizing is that if you don't acknowledge and feel the emotions, they will just fester and they will stick with you and they will stay with you and they will like become bigger. It's the monster underneath the bed. They are like, if you just keep stuffing that down in the bed, under the bed, eventually that monster is so big that it just eats you alive. Okay. But if the monster is like when you take the flashlight out and you take a look at it and say, oh, you're feeling some shame. Oh, it's okay. You are just like everybody else. Because that's the truth. Okay. You cannot tell me one person that does not feel shame. You cannot tell me one person that hasn't felt guilty. You cannot show me one human. The difference is that the people who are feeling shame and have personal development skills, meaning they are able to process the emotions. They're able to recognize really quickly, is it something that I need to fix and find a solution on? Or is it something that I need to just feel, process, and change? Next, reframe it and move on, right? They are able to move through these emotions much quicker. Instead of constantly reacting to it, you are able to move through it. And that feeling of shame and guilt is not going to stick with you. It just becomes uncomfortable when it sticks with you for a long time. Okay. So you have some self-compassion with yourself. You understand you messed up, and you just make better next time. Okay. And then you need to focus on progress, not perfection. There's no such thing as perfection. And I hear this all the time. People say, oh, I have perfectionism. Really? Because what is perfectionism? Again, it is your paradigm. It is the words and the sentences and the feelings that have been put into your paradigm, put into your little computer script that you're running uncontrolled and unchecked in the background. And that runs and runs your entire life, mind you. This paradigm controls your actions, your thoughts, your relationships, every single thing. Okay? Everything, your relationships, the way how you interact with people, every single thing is in the paradigm, stored, saved. And it runs your life completely unchecked unless you take the effort to check it. Okay, so there's no thing as perfection, because see, my paradigm is completely different than your paradigm. My paradigm has completely different data than your paradigm. And what I think is perfect, you think is horrible. Let's take camping, for example. I love camping, brings me joy, right? There's nothing better than, I'm already, by the way, in like 3 weeks, I'm going to hook up and I'm off. And I cannot even wait. Every night I'm going to bed and I'm like giddy inside. I feel this joy. I feel like this excitement. I've got like everything planned already. I ordered some stuff. Like I'm like finding so much joy in going camping. And that's me. You probably have been horrified by the fact that you go camping, right? You would never want to do that. So see, my paradigm and the information and the excitement and the feelings and all the stuff that I've got stored for me is not the same as yours. Okay, so you need to not focus on perfection. You need to rather focus on progress and identifying what's in your paradigm that is either propelling you towards where you want to go or taking you the opposite way. All right, and then from there, you need to find what's your optimal environment. What do you really want to feel like every single day? What do you want to feel like? Because it's unrealistic, let's get real, it is unrealistic to think that you're going to be happy 100% of the day. That's just not happening. You are not going to be happy your whole day, every single day, every minute of the day. That is not realistic. But what's realistic is that you feel happy most of the time. How do you do that? How do you be happy most of the time? You are very much aligned with your priorities. You have in line what you're going to do in the course of the day. How much time do you spend on what? It's very clear to those who are personally developed. It's very clear what they do. Like I spend most of the time actually doing the things I love and being aware that I do the things that I love. Yes, I have a job, yes, I work probably more than most people actually work. But see, here's the thing, when you find joy within what you're doing, right? And you do it for a purpose, you have fun doing it. And when you are aligned with your children, like for example, me, my children are most important. The most important thing in my whole life are my children. And so that's my second priority, right? My first priority actually is my health, because without my health, I have nothing. But in fact, see, this was one of the growth spurts that I had to do. In fact, my health came last. A lot of times my health comes last. So, you have to identify, why did my health come last? Because of my paradigm. Because in my paradigm, subconsciously, it wasn't important. It wasn't something that I should be taking care of, me. Okay, because obviously I also had narcissists in my upbringing and in my life and all that stuff. And for them, now anything that's not good for them should rather not be done. So there's some trauma involved. Now, trauma can happen for you. Procrastination will probably hide some childhood trauma, or some abandonment trauma, or some other kind of emotional wounds. And if you need to learn more about emotional wounds, make sure you're in my community this week, because I'm teaching all of that in there as well. So make sure you hop in there. That's totally free, by the way. Hop on in there. Okay, so optimal environment. You have to have an optimal environment. What is optimal for you? Okay, where's your priorities? Where do you need to be? What makes you feel good, right? Where can you recharge? Where do you need to be more stimulated? It depends. Some people need to be calming down. Some people need to be more stimulated, right? Check this against your paradigm. What do you feel like, more or less happy every single day? That's where you need to make some alignments and some adjustments. And then you just use positive reinforcement to have this positive procrastination mindset. You use the mindfulness. Check in with yourself. See, we don't know often what our perfect environment is going to be like. We don't even know, should we have more stimulation? Should we have less? Should we have more excitement? Should we have less? Often, remember this movie, The Runaway Bride? The runaway bride didn't know what eggs she liked. She adjusted to every partner that she had with and had the eggs that that person liked. You are often like that too. Often you haven't decided, what do I like? Am I a morning person? Am I an evening person? Do I like coffee black? Do I like coffee with something else? You kind of go through the motion and do certain things, but you haven't really picked why you like it. See, I drink my coffee black every morning. Why? Because I don't care about the taste. I care about the warm comfort feeling that it provides me when I sip it. It's the thoughts that I associate with that warm cup of coffee. That's why I have to have my coffee. It's not even the caffeine. I have enough energy as it is. I don't even need the caffeine. I just need that warm feeling, because for me, that is comfort. That's the one thing I do for me before, and I get crabby when I don't have it, because I didn't have that warmth feeling with it, right? So you pick and become mindful about what it is that you want to do. And lastly, to really develop this positive mindset, you actually have to learn from your procrastination. You reflect on it, instead of looking at procrastination as the devil, as the evil that is holding you from your dreams, because honestly, nothing can hold you from your dreams unless you give it permission. Let me repeat that. Nothing will keep you from your dreams, your goals, the goals that you really want to do, unless you give it permission. Trust me, if you love Starbucks, nothing will keep you from finding a Starbucks and going through the drive-thru. If you love Target, nothing is going to keep you from going to Target and shop the throw pillows. Not even a lack of money, as a matter of fact, right? So the question here is that if you are not going for your goals, what is preventing you? Because it's not lack of time. It's not lack of money. Because you don't have time to go and shop in Target and go for the throw pillows, right? You also probably don't have money to redecorate your house over and over and over again. But you do it anyway. Why? Why do you do that? But you don't do what you claim is going to make you and bring you happiness. See, there's a lot to think about when it comes to procrastination. And many don't do that work. But I want you to consider the price you're paying for not doing the work, for not taking the break and focusing on why do I want it, okay? You jeopardize your whole entire life, so to speak. See, I always say what we need to do, we need to focus on how we need to roll it backwards. How do we want to feel at the end of our life? How do we want to feel when when death comes? What do we want to feel like? Who do we want to be around with? What are those people doing? What does it look like? See, I remember there was a coworker of mine who died obviously earlier, and his funeral was, I mean, it was just amazing. There were so many people showing up, so many people showing up for him. And I mean, it would like I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, he mattered to so many people in life that they take the time to show up and come to his funeral. And I remember that thinking, that's what I want to. I want to touch so many people and create these positive ripples in people's lives so that they remember me one day and say, I've learned this from Stephanie. I heard this from Stephanie, or Stephanie touched me this way in my life. Right. And I don't want it for everybody to say, like, oh, Stephanie's the best and Stephanie's the greatest. And that's not what I'm after. But what I'm after is just knowing I've done my part in this world to spread my wisdom, my lessons, my things to you so that you can create ripples with your children, right? And for them to also create the ripples. See, I didn't know anything like that. My mother didn't know anything like that. I mean, my mother knew a lot, but I didn't know about paradigms. I didn't know about patterns. I didn't know about how to have, values in my life. And many people don't know these things unless someone teaches them. Okay, so here I am. I'm teaching what I've learned because it's important. When I learn it, I saw my mother struggling many years, okay, with the same old. She was overwhelmed, and basically is like everyone else, overwhelmed, hustling for a little bit of free time, hustling for a little bit of a vacation, but being disrespected by many, including us children at the time, hustling. And so early on in my motherhood, I started doing the same. I was doing the same. I was angry. I was like, hustling through all the time, feeling like uncomfortable. And there are moments that this still creeps up. And I want to encourage you that even if you start learning on this and you start applying this, it's going to continue to be messy. Okay. And that's okay. It is okay to be messy on the road. But there are moments over and over where I'm seeing, like this morning, I told my kids, I've got work to do. I've got my teachings on Sundays and Saturdays. I'm always preparing content for the upcoming week. So I've had all this work to do. And I told them, like, I want you to pitch in, and everyone is in the same boat. Everyone is in the same goal, and we need to do this together. See, what do I do here? I teach my children how to have a different respect towards themselves, towards me, and how they can acknowledge and demand this from everyone around them. Why? Because I'm breaking that pattern between what I've seen to what I've learned and apply to what then my children will learn and apply. They will have their own scars because I'm sure I make plenty of mistakes, but they don't have the same as I did. And that's what I want for you. I want you to be very clear. What is your goal? What are you going for life? Are you going for having impact? Are you going for, making an impact? And I mean, you don't have to do what I do, like being online and doing all the things and teaching and being a coach to people. Maybe your impact is within your family. Maybe your impact is just being the best mother you can be. Maybe your impact is helping you fill in the blank. Okay? Fill in the blank. If you're watching this on Facebook, put it down in the comments. What do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do with your life? What's your purpose here? Because I believe that when you are just going through the motions, you're on autopilot. You're just, oh, it's Monday again. Oh, happy Friday. and then weekend is over again. It's the mundane rut everyone is going through. Boom. Choose that and you be happy with it. Great. That's your choice. But if that's not what you want to do, then don't do it. Do something else. Okay? Do something else. So, having said that, that's the end of that. So everyone on the Zoom can now ask me questions. I'm going to stop the recording right here, and we are going for next month. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, next month, we're going to talk about how to build the sustainable habits. Okay, we're going to dive deep into how to do habits and how to make that happen. So make sure that you are going to show up because it's going to be exciting. All right, I'm going to stop the recording right there. Stop